Welcome to Lines 3A. Before I dive into the article, I just want to touch on two quick things. First, we have developed a characterization technique. So we know that we can expel or blow gas into water and see if that water becomes acidic or not. While this may not seem like a big deal, it's a nice tool or technique to have at our disposal at our fingertips. The reason why is many gases are colorless and odorless. So if you have two different samples of a colorless and odorless gas and you can't tell the difference between them, maybe you can expel or blow them into water, and if one makes it acidic and one doesn't, you know these two gases, which look alike and smell alike, are in fact different, and that'll prove to be important and useful to us. And secondly is a comment on Joseph Priestley, who's playing a role and will continue to play a role in this short course. So he saw that the pursuit of politics, religion, and science were all one and the same thing, all going after, all seeking truth and a connection to something greater than ourselves. So we'll see if he can stay on this virtuous path. And so diving into the article, Priestley walks up the path to his home in London with an uncomfortable, worried, gnawing feeling in him, and he feels a tension in the air, and his mind returns to his short trip into town to gather materials for his newest set of gas and phlogiston experiments. When he first moved in, Priestley and his family had been accepted quickly by his neighbors, and he was used to being greeted by friendly faces. He was known for his good nature and his sense of humor, and his strange ideas and scientific hobbies were tolerated as funny quirks of this new neighbor. But tensions are growing between Britain and the radical Americans in the colonies, with rumors of possible war. Remember, it's the 1770s. And Priestley is finding himself caught between his neighbors supporting the traditional British royalty in the Anglican Church and his agitator friends like the American Benjamin Franklin, who are ready to question both old scientific ideas and old political ones. And Priestley has not been shy about which side he is supporting. He sighs as he drops the few scattered bits of equipment he had been able to buy on his table, and he sits heavily into his chair. In town today, he was noticing that shops that he had come to rely on were suddenly out of stock. "Sorry, Mr. Priestley, we don't have this anymore for you." He felt a cold stare everywhere he went, and to top it off, a man had actually spit at his feet, muttering "traitor" under his breath. So Priestley, sitting in his lab, breathes in sharply at the memory, and he swells his chest. If simply having ideas and questions is treasonous, then the British government should be shaking in fear. We will not stop pursuing truth, whether it is in the lab or in the courts. And remember, he didn't distinguish between these two avenues. And if it makes me a traitor, so be it. Filled with a fiery new conviction, he sets out to design a procedure to better capture pure gases from chemical reactions. If he is to be certain that the properties he is measuring are part of a new type of gas, he has to make sure no other gases or even ordinary air can contaminate his sample. These unpublished experiments are radical in themselves and will likely be seen as threatening. So even this pursuit of science will be threatening to the Anglican Church and the British government. These thoughts actually bring a smile to Priestley's face. Today, truth starts in the lab. So can you develop a new technique for producing a pure gas and capturing it in a sealed vessel?